Hello friends, and welcome to another episode of Team Jesus Outdoors. Hey, for those of you that have been around TJO for a few years, you probably remember that a couple of years ago I did a video comparing Helix, Humminbird Helix, to the Lowrance Elite Ti series. So at that time I had a couple of Lowrance Elite Ti9s. I have since upgraded one of my Lowrance Elite Ti9s to a Lowrance Elite Ti2, and I gotta tell you, I am very, very happy with the improvements they've made in the Lowrance Ti2 over the Lowrance Ti1. So I'm shooting this video to compare the difference between the Lowrance Elite Ti2 series and the Humminbird Helix, because I believe that Lowrance has closed the gap a little bit, particularly when it comes to side imaging. Lowrance has closed the gap between the Helix Mega imaging and the side imaging on the Lowrance Elite Ti2. I am now pretty confident saying my conclusion of Helix versus Lowrance Elite Ti1 was in fact that it's pretty much a draw. It really, to me, boils down to preference. And I'm personally, I'm a big fan of the operating system of the Lowrance Elite Ti series. I think they're very intuitive, super user-friendly. I love the touch screen. But even now with the Lowrance Elite Ti2 series, I'm far more comfortable saying that the Lowrance Elite series is a far better unit than the Lowrance Elite Ti1s. And I still say it boils down to a preference. If the touch screen is important enough to you that having the touch screen makes a difference, then the Lowrance Elite Ti2 series is a no-brainer. If you're buying a unit primarily for the side imaging capability, then the Humminbird Helix Mega imaging is probably enough to make that your preference. The major upgrade from the old Lowrance Elite Ti1 to the Lowrance Elite Ti2 is swapping out the total scan transducer that came with the Lowrance Elite Ti1 for the newer 3-in-1 transducer that now comes with the Lowrance Elite Ti2. That 3-in-1 transducer was a big improvement. In the dark column. Here's a side-by-side comparison up here of a Helix 12, Humminbird Helix 12 Gen 3 with Mega imaging on the right, compared to a Lowrance 12 Elite Ti2 on the left. Now granted, this is not a perfect comparison. We are trying to read the same exact material. We are actually following one another in a straight line. But it is not a perfect comparison because I cannot say for certain that both units are set to the exact same settings. And I can't guarantee that we perfectly stayed in the same exact line. So it's not a perfect comparison, but it does give you some idea of the comparison between these two units. I believe I had the Lowrance Elite 12 set at 800 when I should have had it set at 400. and I think we would have had a better comparison. The other flaw that makes this a non-perfect comparison is the fact that we are not moving at identical speeds. So whether one boat speeds up or the other boat slows down or vice versa, our boats are not traveling at identical speeds. So that makes it very difficult to do a perfect comparison. That's interesting. There's a real hard bottom spot right here. See this? See that?
Yeah.
Those rocks, and it got real bright and hard right there.
Yeah.
And across here, some sort of old, I don't know, it could be an old road or something. Some nice structure right there.
What a fish look like.
A white spot or a white line. Like this over here could be fish.
Yeah.
See what those bridge pilings look like.
Cool.
A lot better detail on that 12 unit.
Yeah.
But it's still pretty cool.
Very.
That log right off the edge of that bridge is beautiful. A little log laying right on the bottom. The Ti1 didn't pick that up. There it is. There's the road bed. That's beautiful.
Hard to fish. Only 10 to 7. Man, we would have got out here and free with a whole lot of fish. We've already been out here a while.
Alright, we're going to go right back over that. Try to figure out how that lays out. So we can drag the old ball and chain across it. Notice what happens here as I've just switched the Elite 12 from 800 megahertz to 400 megahertz. Notice that the bottom section of the screen, which is the older history, is not using 100% of the screen in 800. And then after I set it to 400, which is the upper 1/3 of the screen there, you see where it's using the entire screen. That's once I selected 400. So notice that in 400 you're using the entire screen, while in 800 megahertz you're only using 2/3 of the screen, or a little bit more. And here you will notice that I have switched from 400 up to the higher 800 megahertz. And you'll notice you have the reverse situation that we had switching from 800 to 400.
Inside of here.
Take a little different look at it, a little higher. Take a look at it here with 800 kilohertz. See how it's up on a crazy angle? top of it. One of my favorite features of this Lowrance Elite series is the ability to put these things into standby mode. So without turning them completely off, you can limit your power draw. I love that feature for sure. There's not a clear winner between the Humminbird Helix and the Lowrance Elite Ti2. So hey friends, in conclusion, I just want to say this. I absolutely love my new Lowrance Elite 12 Ti2. I'm very happy I made the decision to go that route rather than going with the Humminbird Helix 10. I still contend that I think Lowrance has one of the best, if not the best, I think probably the best 2D sonar on the market. The Lowrance down scan with fish reveal is better than any other down scan I've used. I do, however, still think that Hummingbird's mega imaging gives Humminbird a slight edge when it comes to side imaging. You cannot beat the price of the Lowrance Elite Ti series. In conclusion, I will just say this. I will never go back to a smaller unit. You definitely want to buy the most. You definitely want to buy the biggest screen size you can afford. The difference between a 9-inch screen and a 12-inch screen is gigantic. Makes a huge difference. Friends, ultimately I think it still boils down to preference. If you're a giant fan of Humminbirds, if you've been using Humminbirds for many years and you like the operating system, you like the interface, you're familiar with the menu system, then by all means stick with Humminbird. You can't go wrong. If you're already a Lowrance fan, you definitely cannot go wrong with Lowrance. The 3-in-1 transducer is a gigantic upgrade over the total scan transducer. I'm certainly glad that I took Lance Valentine's advice and tried the Lowrance with the 3-in-1 transducer before I switched over to Humminbird for side imaging. But hey friends, I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope maybe you've learned something. If you're trying to make the decision for yourself between Lowrance and Humminbird, I hope this was somewhat helpful to you. Hey, get the biggest screen you can buy. You can't go wrong with Lowrance. You can't go wrong with Humminbird. God bless, tight lines. We'll see you guys on the water. Hey, make sure to click that subscribe button if you're not already subscribed. Make sure to like this video. Leave us a comment in the comment box below. Let me know, what is your preference of electronics? And why do you choose the electronics you choose? Hey guys, God bless, tight lines. We'll see you guys on the water.